Welcome to Health, Wealth, and Tech, the channel where we bring you powerful insights to help you live healthier, build lasting wealth, and stay ahead with technology. Every video is designed to give you practical strategies you can apply right now. Let's go straight into the video as I hand it over to Todd. Todd, take it away.
Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday is one of those timeless books that doesn't just talk about success. It explains why many people lose it and why others never reach it in the first place. Today, I'll walk you through this book, but with a unique lens: health, wealth, and technology. Because in our modern world, ego doesn't just affect how we see ourselves. It shapes our physical well-being, our financial growth, and even how we adapt, or fail to adapt, to technology. If you want to grow stronger, richer, and more future-ready, this message is for you. This review will be done in 5 parts, and the main focus will be on health, wealth, and technology. Part 1. The core idea of the book. Holiday argues that ego, our unhealthy belief in our own importance, is the greatest obstacle to success. It blocks us in 3 stages of life: aspire, when we're just starting out; success, when we've achieved something; failure, when things fall apart. And in each of these stages, ego whispers, "You already know enough. You don't need help. You're better than them." But here's the truth. Ego can wreck our health by adding stress, ruin our wealth by killing humility and learning, and make us obsolete by resisting new technologies. Part 2. Health perspective. Aspire stage. Ego convinces us that we don't need discipline. For example, you might say, "I don't need to sleep more, I can grind all night." But science shows chronic stress, lack of sleep, and burnout destroy both body and mind. The humble beginner admits, "I don't know everything, so I need rest, training, and habits to sustain me." Success stage. When people rise in their careers, ego tempts them to indulge, eating poorly, skipping workouts, and ignoring mental health. Holiday reminds us, success is fragile. Health is the foundation that sustains it. Without humility to care for the body, success collapses. Failure stage. Ego magnifies pain, turning setbacks into identity crises. But if you silence ego, failure becomes a teacher. Resilience, therapy, journaling, meditation, these are tools that protect mental health when life knocks us down. Takeaway for health. Humility is medicine. The body thrives when the mind admits it needs care, discipline, and recovery. Part 3. Wealth perspective. Aspire stage. Ego says, "I'm too good to start small." But wealth often grows from patience, apprenticeship, and compounding. Holiday uses stories of leaders who worked quietly behind the scenes, building skills before wealth. In personal finance, the humble investor saves consistently, while the ego-driven gambler chases quick wins. Success stage. Ego can make wealth fragile. Success leads many to overspend, ignore advisors, or take reckless risks. Humility, however, keeps you learning, budgeting, and reinvesting. Warren Buffett is a living example: modest lifestyle, relentless learning, steady compounding. Failure stage. Ego resists financial correction. When investments go south, ego says, "Hold on, it'll turn around." Humility says, "Cut your losses, learn the lesson, and move smarter next time." Takeaway for wealth. Ego wastes wealth through arrogance. Humility multiplies wealth through discipline, patience, and adaptability. Part 4. Technology perspective. Aspire stage. In the digital age, ego can stop us from learning new tools. You've probably heard people say, "I don't need AI. I don't need coding. I'll stick to my way." But humility says, "The world is evolving. I must evolve too." The humble beginner embraces lifelong learning and technology. Success stage. Many successful professionals fall behind because ego convinces them they're too established to adapt. Think of companies that ignored the internet or social media. Ego blinded them. Humility, on the other hand, keeps innovators curious. Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, and countless entrepreneurs constantly updated their playbook because they knew yesterday's success doesn't guarantee tomorrow's relevance. Failure stage. When technology disrupts your industry, ego makes you bitter. Humility makes you pivot. Those who lost jobs to automation but humbly reskilled in digital fields have thrived. The ego-driven who refused, they became obsolete. Takeaway for technology: ego keeps you stuck in the past. Humility keeps you future-ready. Part 5. Final call to action. Holiday's message is simple but profound. Ego is not your friend. It is the silent enemy that destroys health, drains wealth, and blinds you to technology's opportunities. But humility, discipline, and resilience are your allies. So as you move forward, in health, let humility remind you to rest, train, and recover. In wealth, let humility guide you to save, learn, and invest wisely. In technology, let humility keep you curious, adaptable, and ahead of the curve. If you remember one thing, remember this: ego shouts, humility builds. Ego has destroyed more dreams than failure ever will. That's Ryan Holiday's message in Ego is the Enemy. And when you think about it, he's right. Ego makes us skip workouts because we think we're too busy. Ego makes us overspend because we want to look richer than we are. Ego makes us resist new technology because we think we already know enough. In this video, I'll show you how ego secretly affects your health, your wealth, and even your ability to thrive in today's technology-driven world. And by the end, you'll see why humility, not ego, is the ultimate key to growth. Ryan Holiday breaks life into 3 stages: aspire, success, and failure. When we aspire, ego says, "You're already special. You don't need to learn. You should already be at the top." When we have success, ego says, "You're untouchable. You don't need discipline anymore." When we face failure, ego says, "This is the end. You've been exposed." As we continue the review of the book, Ego is the Enemy and in Failure, ego keeps you clinging to bad investments. Remember the dot-com crash of the early 2000s? Many investors held onto worthless stocks because their ego couldn't admit defeat. The humble ones cut their losses and reinvested wisely. Wealth lesson: ego wastes money. Humility multiplies it. Focus on technology. This is where the book feels almost prophetic. Ego is one of the biggest reasons people fall behind in the digital age. When starting out, ego says, "I don't need to learn that app, that coding skill, that AI tool." But the humble learner says, "Teach me." Look at people today who embraced AI early. They're already miles ahead in productivity and opportunities. Success is even trickier. Big companies often collapse because of ego. Kodak invented the digital camera but ignored it, because ego told them film would rule forever. Blockbuster laughed at Netflix because ego blinded them to the future. Meanwhile, Netflix stayed humble enough to evolve from DVDs to streaming to original content. And in failure, technology separates the bitter from the adaptive. Jobs lost to automation crushed some people because ego said, "I shouldn't have to change." Others, humbly reskilled, learned digital marketing, coding, or AI, and thrived. Technology lesson: ego keeps you stuck. Humility keeps you future-ready. Call to action. So here's the truth Ryan Holiday teaches us. Ego is the silent killer. It kills health by convincing us to ignore discipline. It kills wealth by making us arrogant with money. And it kills opportunity by making us resist technology. But humility is the antidote. In health, humility helps you rest, train, and recover. In wealth, humility keeps you disciplined, patient, and wise. In technology, humility keeps you curious, adaptable, and relevant. So ask yourself today, where is ego holding me back? What could humility help me grow? Remember, ego shouts, but humility builds. If you found this helpful, hit like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because ego might be the enemy, but together we can silence it. Health perspective. Ego in health often shows up as denial. I don't need to exercise. I can eat whatever I want, overconfidence or comparison. Holiday argues that ego blinds us to reality. In health, this means ignoring feedback from your body, doctors, or research. Lesson: humility helps longevity. If you admit you don't know everything about fitness, diet, or mental health, you stay open to learning and adapting. Takeaway: health thrives on discipline and self-awareness, not pride or shortcuts. Wealth perspective: ego in wealth leads to chasing prestige, showing off success, or making risky investments for status. Holiday highlights that sustainable success comes from purpose, patience, and process, not from loud displays. In business and finance, ego makes people reject feedback, overestimate their skills, or refuse to pivot when things fail. Lesson: true wealth is built by staying grounded, focusing on long-term goals, and letting results speak louder than appearances. Takeaway: wealth grows when you trade ego for curiosity, collaboration, and humility. Technology perspective: in today's digital world, ego is amplified by social media and tech platforms. The attention economy rewards ego-driven behavior, followers, likes, and personal branding, yet often at the cost of depth, focus, and real innovation. Holiday's message applies here. Ego distracts creators, entrepreneurs, and technologists from solving problems in favor of chasing recognition. Lesson: the best technology leaders, Jobs, Musk, Gates, etc., at their best moments, channel ambition into service and innovation, not ego trips. Takeaway: use technology as a tool to serve, not a stage to inflate yourself. Big picture across all three. Ego blinds us, makes us fragile, and pulls us toward short-term validation. Health, wealth, and T. Ego blinds us, makes us fragile, and pulls us toward short-term validation. Health, wealth, and technology all demand humility, discipline, and continuous learning to thrive. You know, Ryan Holiday's book, Ego is the Enemy, hits differently when you look at it through health, wealth, and technology. Let's break it down real quick. On health, ego shows up when we say things like, "I don't need to work out, I'm fine," or, "That diet doesn't apply to me." It's that little voice that keeps us from admitting we need to change. But the truth is, health is all about humility. You've got to be willing to learn, adapt, and accept feedback, whether that's from your doctor, your trainer, or even your own body. On wealth, ego can ruin money faster than a bad investment. Think about it. People chase flashy cars, big houses, or risky deals just to show off. But real wealth, that comes from patience, discipline, and the willingness to learn from others. Ego makes you think you're too smart to fail. Humility keeps you focused on the long game. And technology. This is where it gets interesting. Social media, apps, all these platforms, they feed the ego, likes, followers, status updates. They tempt us to build an image instead of building real value. But the innovators who actually change the world, they use tech to serve people, not to inflate themselves. The moment ego takes over, focus is gone. So across health, wealth, and tech, the message is the same. Ego blinds us. Drop the ego, stay humble, and keep learning. That's where growth actually happens.
Thank you so much, Todd, and thank you, HWT fans, for watching the Health, Wealth, and Tech channel. If you found value in today's video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss future content that could transform your health, grow your wealth, and unlock the power of technology. Until next time, stay strong, stay smart, and keep moving forward. And until I see you next time, keep being great, HWT fans.